You ever really thought about what's going on inside an elevator? I mean, we use them every day without a second thought. Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain. With a little help from the experts at Novin Pooya Elevator, we're going to uncover the hidden physics and the incredible engineering that makes a perfect, smooth, and safe elevator ride possible.
You know the feeling, right? You step inside, you push the button, the door slides shut, there's that little hum, maybe a tiny sensation of movement, and then boom, you're on your floor. It feels effortless, almost like magic. But underneath all that calm is a constant, invisible battle against some seriously powerful forces.
But we've all been in that elevator, haven't we? The one that starts with a big, sudden jolt? It's kind of startling, a little uncomfortable, but have you ever stopped to wonder what's actually causing that jarring lurch?
Yeah, that jolt is way more than just a minor annoyance. It's actually a warning sign. The technical pros over at Novin Pooya explain that if the forces aren't perfectly balanced with what the motor can do, you get big problems. We're talking severe vibrations, the motor overheating, or worse. It's a clear signal that the whole system is under major stress.
So how do engineers solve this? How do they tame those forces? Well, they bring in the hero of our story today, torque. It turns out getting this one single force dialed in perfectly is the secret to turning a jerky, stressful ride into a smooth and seamless one.
Okay, so what is torque? Let's break it down. In the simplest terms, it's a twisting force. For an elevator, it's the raw rotational power that the motor provides to turn that huge pulley, which is called a sheave, and lift or lower the car. You can just think of it as the core muscle of the entire elevator system.
But this muscle has its work cut out for it. It's not just lifting a weight. Oh no, it's fighting a battle on 3 different fronts at the exact same time. First, you've got the imbalance force. That's just the weight difference between the car full of people and the big counterweight. Then there's friction, coming from all the parts rubbing together, like the car on its guide rails. And finally, the biggest enemy at the start, inertial force. That's just physics saying a heavy object at rest wants to stay at rest.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. To win this 3-front war, the motor doesn't just use one kind of torque. Engineers actually deploy what you could call a dynamic duo, 2 different types of torque that each have a very specific, very critical job to do.
So let's meet the team. You have nominal torque and starting torque. The easiest way to think about it is this. Nominal torque is the cruising force. It's that steady, efficient power that keeps the elevator humming along at a constant speed. But starting torque, that's the takeoff force. It's a massive, short burst of raw power needed for just that first moment to get everything up and moving.
Let's look a little closer at nominal torque. So once the elevator is actually moving and up to speed, the battle against inertia is pretty much over. At that point, the motor just needs to provide enough steady, continuous power to handle the weight difference and the friction. This is what gives you that smooth, cruising feeling between floors.
And now for the real powerhouse, starting torque. This is the absolute maximum all-out power the motor has to put out. In that one split second after you hit the button, it has to conquer the weight imbalance, all the friction, and that powerful force of inertia all at once. It has to be huge enough to get the entire system from a dead stop into motion.
So you might be wondering, how in the world do engineers figure out exactly how much of each torque is needed? Is it a guess? No way. It's all about precise calculation. Let's actually walk through a real-world example from the Novin Pooya Elevator Guide to see exactly how the pros do it.
Alright, so here are the specs for the elevator system we're going to analyze. You can see things like how much the car itself weighs, its maximum load, so how many people it can carry, the speed it's designed for, even the size of the pulley. These are the key ingredients engineers plug into their formulas to design a perfect system.
And the process they follow is super logical, a clear 4-step plan. First, they figure out the imbalance and inertial forces, using the system's weight and how fast it needs to accelerate. Then, with those numbers, they can calculate the exact nominal torque needed for cruising. And finally, the big one, the starting torque for that initial takeoff.
So after they crunch all the numbers for that smooth, cruising part of the ride, what do they find? Bam! They need about 2,162 Newton meters of nominal torque. That's the steady, consistent power to keep it moving. Go ahead and keep that number in your head.
But what about that first moment? Getting everything started from zero? When you add in that massive force of inertia, whoa, the result is pretty staggering. The required starting torque jumps all the way up to nearly 3,442 Newton meters. That is a colossal surge of power, and it's needed for just a fraction of a second. Okay, so those two numbers we just saw, they aren't just for an exam. The huge difference between them reveals the single most important challenge in all of elevator engineering. And it's the reason why precision is absolutely everything.
And this chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? I mean, just look at that gap. The starting torque needed is over 50% greater than the cruising torque. The motor has to be able to deliver this incredible burst of power on demand, and then immediately and smoothly ramp down to a much, much lower power level.
So that huge power gap is exactly why you don't feel a jolt in a modern elevator. The secret is this brilliant piece of technology called a variable frequency drive, or VFD. Think of it like a super smart dimmer switch for the motor. It lets the motor deliver that massive starting torque smoothly and then seamlessly ramp down for an efficient and comfortable ride.
And that brings us right back to the heart of the matter. As the team at Novin Pooya Elevator puts it so well, it all comes down to precision. With these exact calculations, they can select the perfect motor for the job, one that can handle all the forces it will face to give you flawless performance and, most importantly, stable safety. So the next time you step into an elevator and feel that smooth, effortless ascent, take a second to remember the invisible battle of forces being won just for you. It isn't magic, it's just brilliant engineering.